Well, good afternoon, and thank you to all of you for joining our virtual field trip to a pig farm. It is so exciting to see so many students from all over Ohio. I'm going to say we have too many students to list at this point, but we've got a lot of schools, and that's very so. Thanks for your time. We would like to thank our sponsors that have made this event possible, and that's the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation, Farm Credit Mid-America, the Cargill Cares Foundation, and the Ohio Pork Council is also offering support. I'm Jennifer Osterholt. I'm here on staff with the Pork Council, and I work for farmers. We've got Dan Toland, who has been offering technical support, and I know he's very busy helping a teacher right now. So we thank you for all of the help that he offers. Without further ado, though, let's get our hands ready. Get ready, put your hands together for the featured guest, the one that everybody came to see, Lauren Schwab, our farmer. So, hey, Lauren.
Hi, everyone.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself and tell us what you've been doing today, please.
Yeah, so my family has a farm just north of Cincinnati, Ohio, and my dad started it all by himself when he was younger. He's a first-generation farmer, and he decided he loved taking care of little piglets. And so our farm is a breed-to-wean farm where the mother pigs become pregnant and they give birth to their piglets, and I help take care of those piglets until they're big enough to stop nursing from their mother when they're about 3 weeks old, and then another farmer. So I specialize in getting the piglets off to the best starts, and it's just my dad, my brother, and I, and 2 other employees that are full-time on the farm. But today it's just my dad and I. Other people have off work, so we've had a busy morning. It's my responsibility to feed all of the mothers that have their piglets. I make sure they get the right amount, and I'll go into what they eat in a little bit. But I make sure that all the piglets are warm and dried off. And today happens to be a day where there's lots of new piglets being born. And so I need to go through and count how many piglets are born and make sure they're all doing well. And I'll show you some newborn piglets in just a little bit. But yeah, it takes a long time just to feed all the mother pigs. And I'll show you some of their pens. See, this is a pen. This is a new mother. She's right here. And this is her first litter of piglets. They were just born yesterday. She has 12 nice piglets. So this morning I went through, I'm in a room right now where there's 36 mothers, and they all have their own feeder.
Hey, Lauren.
And they have the...
Lauren, do you mind if we jump in, and kids, get your hands ready. We need to do a little trivia. By looking at those baby pigs, hold up how many fingers. How much do you think those pigs weigh? How many pounds is each pig by a show of fingers? Let's take some guesses. I see some hands waving. I see some 5s, some 10s. I see 10s, a lot of a 2. I see a lot of 10s. So Lauren, how much do those little pigs weigh?
They only weigh about 2 pounds.
Wow. Yep. So hold up your hand if you had a 2 and you got it right. Woohoo! Good job. Good job. All right, sorry to interrupt. Lauren, take us back to the feeders.
No,
and
it's okay.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So the mom has her own feeder right in front of her, and she's centered in the middle, and she eats corn and soybean meal. I have a sample of it, like right here. Another farmer grows it, and we grind it up, and so it's easy for her to eat. Vitamins and minerals in there. Lots of protein for her to milk her babies. And then she has her own water in front of her. It's like a drinking fountain. And she can just push down on this with her mouth and water comes out. See? And so she can drink whenever she wants. And so, and you can see the floors are slatted so that their pen stays nice and clean. The little piglets have a rubber mat to lay on and a warm heat lamp, because right now the weather, some days it's warm and some days it's cold. It's been raining a lot lately. Side where they can stay nice and warm and dry. So I went through all the pens and I put a pig baby powder on the pens so that they're all dried off. That's one of the most important things, is making sure their pen is clean. And let's see, yeah, I went through in this room and I fed all of the mothers. And she has her own spot in the middle of the pen because you can see she's very big, probably between 300 and 400 pounds. She's not as old, and so she stays in the middle so all the piglets can lay off to the side, and she can see them all. And so in a little bit, I'm sure they'll get hungry and they'll want to nurse. But yeah, it took me a long time this morning to feed them all. And then we got a bunch of new mothers from another farm. Well, they aren't mothers yet, but they'll become mothers. We got some pigs from the other farm. So it's a busy morning.
Well, very good. Let's have some more interaction. So, Lauren, you have shown us baby pigs, and you have very specialized equipment, and you are very good at taking care of baby pigs and helping moms give birth and helping pigs get started drinking milk. And then there's a point where they get too big to drink milk, right? And they need to eat solid food. And you work with another farmer that takes care of them from that point on. So these pigs we saw are a couple days old. And when they go to market to become pork, they're 280 pounds. So classes, let's get your hands ready. How many months? Show us on your fingers. How many months does it take to get to market weight? Let's see some guesses. 280 pounds. So from today, I'm seeing more tens, some fives.
They're coming over to nurse.
We got some guesses there. Good, some tens or some waves. I don't know. All the above. All right, Lauren, why don't you tell us the answer? Oh, some fours, some sixes, some eights.
Yeah, within 6 months, they'll be close to 300 pounds, around 270 to 280 pounds, and they'll be big enough for the market. And so they grow really fast, and they're only on their mom for 3 weeks at the most.
And then they get so big in 3 weeks that they're done with milk. Hard to believe. So how much do they weigh at the end of 3 weeks?
They weigh around 15 to 17 pounds. And we give them on their mats, we'll put down some of the mother's food. So they learn how to eat food before they go to the other farmer. And they'll be group pens and they'll just eat as much as they want. And so because they're growing so quickly.
Do you want to show us some of the pig food up close that the mom eats, please?
Yes. And so see right here, I have some in a bucket. So as these pigs get bigger, I can put this on the mat for them to eat. You can see it's just ground up corn and soybean meal. And so it's really easy for them to eat when it's ground up like that. And it's really important that the mother gets at least 5 pounds for herself plus an additional pound for each piglet. So, because they need a lot of milk to grow. And I can show you a little more around the barn how the food comes in.
Great.
You see, we have fans on the walls to make sure we always have fresh air coming in the building. And I'll walk slowly. Just let me know if the connection gets a little bad.
You're doing great.
Okay. See, we have a big feed cart here. And I won't fill it up now because they'll think it's time to eat already. They know when I turn on the feed system, it's time to eat. But there's a tube here and it comes from outside. Outside there's a big grain bin. Comes in and I can fill up the feed cart and I can give each mom a scoop of feed. And we measure it out ahead of time so we know how many pounds of feed that she's getting. And so that way I
Dan,
can stay inside.
Dan, do you have a picture of the outside of the barn where we can show what it looks like where Lauren's at and we can show those feed bins, please? And it'll take just a moment. But what are the main ingredients in feed, Lauren?
Corn and soybean meal are the two main ingredients. And then our veterinarian will tell us how to mix in different vitamins and minerals that the pigs need. Just like if you were to take a vitamin each day, we want to make sure our pigs get all the right nutrients they need.
And Dan's ready. He's got the pictures of the outside of a barn. So you've got some feed bins, and
See here.
so you store your corn in some of those bins, and then you'll put it in a.
Yes.
You want to tell us what your dad does?
Yes. So another farmer will bring the corn and the soybeans, and it'll be stored in that bin. And then my dad has a machine called a feed grinder, and he'll be able to put the corn and soybeans into the grinder and mix it up into that meal for the pigs to eat. So it's really easy for them to chew.
And then there's some silver tanks that we're seeing there, which we call feed bins on the farm, that are outside each of the barns that you have. And that's what it's stored in until you put it in your feed cart inside the barn. See, Dan can probably point out a couple bins there. So you put it in your cart inside the barn and then you feed the animals. Another thing that's neat is the manure from the pigs has really valuable nutrients in it that you put on the fields and then grow corn and soybeans and use it to feed the animals. I've got a sample that I'll show. So this is what Lauren had in her hands. These are soybeans, and then these are kernels of corn. So you take those two, you grind them up, mix them together, and you've got pig food. Back to you, Lauren. What else do you want to share?
So earlier this week, our veterinarian came to the farm, and every other month he comes to the farm and he does a checkup to make sure that all the pigs are doing well and they're healthy. And so also it's important to know we identify each and every one of the mothers. So here, she has an ear tag and she's purple tag 32. And then the pen she's in has a number. And so I can record her J29 and how many piglets she had yesterday. I can write down the date that she was born, and that way I can keep track of her, all the piglets she raises. And so it's really important to know that even though there's a lot of piglets born, we can give them individual care and attention. And so it'll be my job the rest of the day to make sure that all the newborn piglets get off to a good start. Each one of them needs iron when they're born. And so I make sure that I pick each and every one up and make sure it's dried off and gets what they need.
Great. Do you mind telling us, Lauren, we're seeing kind of some metal bars that the pigs are getting to, and we've been asked before, are those bars holding the moms down, or tell us more what those are about, please?
Okay. They're just keeping her in the middle of the pen. That way she stays right in front of her feed and water whenever she needs it. And it also makes her lay down slowly because, like I said, she's very big compared to the piglets. She might be around 350 pounds, where the piglets are only 2 to 3 pounds. And so she needs to make sure she sees them when she lays down. And so she'll lay down in the middle and she lays out to nurse, and the piglets can come over to eat. whenever they want to. So this is kind of their little apartment for just the mom and the piglets. Let's
Very
see.
good.
And they're not as active right now because they're newborn piglets. They're learning to walk and nurse for the first time. So you'll see them nap a lot. They like to cuddle with each other. They especially like the warm heat lamp. And when it's really cold, we'll put another heat lamp on the pen. So right now, and right here in the room, some of the older moms are hitting on their feeders. They want fed soon. So right after this, I'm gonna feed them their lunch.
All right. Well, shall we, you've done a great job. Shall we open it up for some questions, or is there anything else you want to share?
Yeah. We can take questions, and I can see if I can find another litter of piglets to show.
Okay. So I think along the bottom, I see Ms. Martin's class at Horizon Science Academy on the far left. Does everybody see that the same way, Dan? Not sure. Okay. So I was going to work from left to right and take a question from each classroom, just as long as there's time. So let's go ahead and start on the left with the school in Columbus. Go ahead whenever you're ready. I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Come here. All right, ask again. We can hear you now.
Ms. Martin's class is still having issues with that. Ms. Martin, you might have to type in your question.
Okay. Well, let's go to the next class in line while she's typing. So that would be Patrick Henry, I believe. You have someone with a question there?
You may have to unmute your microphone as well.
How did your pig farm start?
Yeah, so it started when my dad was given his first pig by his uncle, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a litter of piglets, and from there he was able to raise more, and it's grown over time to where we have a lot of mothers. So it was all thanks to my dad's uncle, and he decided that he just loved taking care of the piglets.
Neat. So we'll go to the third class, Ms. Workman in Akron. If you want to have a student come up to your camera and get ready, I will go ahead and go back to Lauren. The question we got in via chat from Ms. Martin's class is, how big is the mother pig?
The mother pig's really big. This one is probably around 350 pounds. She's a smaller one. It's her first litter of piglets. But some of the older mamas could be up to 500 pounds.
Very good. All right. Back to Ms. Workman's class. If you have go ahead.
The piglets.
Do it again.
How old are the piglets?
These piglets right here are only 2 days old. They were just born yesterday. And most of them in this room are only a couple of days old.
All right. Next class in line. Do you want to go ahead and have a student ask a question? Ms. Maynard.
Raise your hand if you have a question. Come here. Ask your question.
So little.
Say, why are they so little?
Why is that pig so little?
Yeah, the piglets are really little. Because one mama has around 12 piglets, and so that's why they're so small when they're born. But like I said, they get really big fast. So within 6 months, they'll be almost as big as their mom.
Great. All right. Our next class is Kelly. I believe at Horizon Science Academy. Do you all have a question? Or nope, I got the wrong one. Ms. Stegeman's class, I'm sorry, at Burroughs Elementary in Columbus. Do you all have a question?
Okay, I'm not sure what happened. I
All
lost
right,
you for a second.
let's keep on moving and see if Mrs. Heaston's class at Graham Local School has a question.
How long does it take for a goat to have piglets?
Can you repeat that? Oh.
Can you hear her? Hello? Can you hear her?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
hold it down here. Loud.
How long does it take for a goat to have piglets?
Oh, so they're pregnant for 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. So not as long as humans. So not very long at all for them to have their piglets.
I'm sorry. Thank you for the question. I'm sorry I went out of order. I missed Mrs. Zupanik's class in Akron. Is there a question there?
You may have to click your mute button to open up your microphone. Okay, there they are. Are there other colors of pigs is what they have?
Yes, there are many colors of pigs. So on our farm, though, they're mostly white and kind of pink, as you can see. And that's just because the mothers, the breed is called either Landrace or Yorkshire. They're good for their mothering abilities. So they're very calm and nurse well. But the father has all red hair. He's a Duroc pig. And they're known for their meat quality. So pork is much healthier for us to eat. And so there's all different kinds of breeds, but that's what's on our farm.
Great. We've got a couple questions that have come in via chat. So let's continue to take questions that way for a couple more minutes. And one of them is Lauren from Mrs. Brown. Do you have any chickens on your farm?
No, we don't have any chickens on our farm. We do have a few cows that are out in the field and they just eat the grass. But otherwise, we just raise pigs.
The same class asked, why do pigs have curly tails?
Well, you can see their tail is long and soft when they're first born. So you can see his long tail. And so sometimes they just curl up. They kind of like to wag their tails, you can see.
Great. And those are the classes that are watching us along on YouTube. We can't see them at the bottom, but they're watching and interacting via YouTube. So we'll leave it open for questions for another minute or so. While I think there's a couple people typing, but while we're waiting, we will encourage all of you to visit ohiopork.org if you have more questions. And of course, to look for Lauren on social media. She's got a blog. Lauren, do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah. So my blog is farmgirlwithcurls.com. CURLS, curls for my curly hair. And I talk about the farm. I show pictures and videos on Facebook and social media. And I also talk about country music and living out in the country. So.
And I apologize. We need to go back. Miss Degeman's class at Burroughs Elementary has not had a chance to ask a question. So thank you, Dan, for catching that.
Ask again.
How many pigs do you have?
There's a lot of pigs. The number's changing all the time. There is around 1,200 older pigs that and then but around 120 of them every other week have piglets, and they have around 12 piglets each.
Great. So a couple more questions have come in from Akron. How old is the mother pig?
Well, this mother pig is less than a year old, or she's probably about a year old, because she had her pregnancy. But a lot of the mothers on the farm are around 3 years old, so they get pretty big fast.
And we'll go ahead and wrap up with our last question from another school in Akron. How do pigs learn to walk by themselves?
When they're born, they just start walking because they want to come around and get milk from their mother. And so I think, yeah, it's amazing how they learn to walk right away by themselves.
I missed a question in the chat also. Do you tend to have more female or male piglets?
I think there tends to be a little more female piglets, but it's about even between the boys and the girls that go to the other farmer.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to add, Lauren?
I don't think so, but as you can see, these piglets were napping a lot, and I think probably now they're just going to go and nurse from their mother. But I'll be busy here the rest of the day taking care of them, making sure they get the milk they need.
Well, we are very grateful for the time that you took to share with us. So thank you very much. And I would ask all of the students, would you please help give Lauren a round of applause? Let's clap for her. Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for your time, and we hope you have a great rest of the school year. All right, let's wave. Let's wave to Lauren.
My turn.
Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.